guys.
A shit show, a pure shit show. It literally takes a village.
I don't know if it was dirty or clean.
Oh my god.
Bad mom.
Like
Gone
that
wild. Yes.
Because I'm shining.
Woo! That was good, guys. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right.
Welcome. So today we have a guest on the show. We have April here. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much. And today we're going to talk with April about our topic is moving your family, right?
Out of state.
Out of state. Yeah, that's the
Across-
important
Across the
part
country.
about it.
Yes, across the country.
Yeah.
So April, tell us your story. Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Southern California my whole life, born and raised. I lived in West Covina, and I went to Walnut High School. I went to college in California, never left pretty much ever. And yeah, I loved California.
Was all your family located in California too, or did you have family out of town?
No, I have a very small family. I grew up with my grandma and grandpa, and then I have one aunt, one uncle, and my dad, and we all lived within 20 minutes of each other.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
So then you're definitely Cali grown.
Yep.
Yeah.
Could you ever see yourself living anywhere else?
Not when I was younger. When I was younger, I was like very much a California girl. Like I loved the fact that you could go to the beach on Friday and then on Saturday go snowboarding.
Mm-hmm.
Like California was like my home. That's all I knew. I didn't really travel, so I didn't ever picture myself leaving California. And you know what they say, the weather is just the best in California.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But as I got older, things definitely changed in my life and meeting my husband and stuff. So
Okay, so that brings me to my next question. What made you decide to move to a different state?
it was my husband's idea at first. And when he first brought up the idea, I cried. And I said, no, how am I going to leave the beach? How am I going to leave my family? How am I going to leave In-N-Out? Like,
In-N-Out's on your top 3. Wait, hold on.
I love it.
Wait, at the time, so you're married at the time?
yeah,
and
we're
you
married.
had a baby, or you were pregnant? Which one?
We just had my son. So we just had
another thing. How are you going to take him, you know?
A newborn.
Yeah, like we just had him and I was like, you're crazy. Like, why would we do this? This doesn't make any sense. And then I went on Zillow and I saw what we could afford because we were trying to buy something. We were living in a 1-bedroom apartment and we were trying to buy something in California, and like what we could afford, my husband would either have to commute really far
Mm-hmm.
or we'd be just as squished as we were in our 1-bedroom apartment. So what was really the point?
Mm-hmm.
So I went on Zillow and I saw what we could afford and what was in our budget and at different states and like places. And I was like, okay, well, that's a lot. Like we could afford a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we could live a different life if he could make the same amount of money he's making here somewhere else.
Yeah.
Right.
So we talked about it and we went over our options. Then we decided, like, let's just throw your application out everywhere and see what happens.
Oh, okay.
So I was basically the one applying him. And so I kind of like,
that was
there
your
a couple,
job.
I would just send it out. I would go online on like Craigslist or on like, what was it, Indeed and stuff like that. And I'd be like, okay, they're hiring. Let's apply here.
Uh-huh.
And there's a couple states where we were staying away from. Weather-wise, I wasn't prepared for like a ton of snow and stuff like that. And then for some reason, like Tennessee, Nashville in particular, just like kept popping up.
Mm-hmm.
So we kept applying there. And then we almost moved to Oregon.
Oh.
That was one of the places that was interviewing. And the issue we found was that he wasn't there yet. So they were hiring people that were already there.
Okay.
And so we're like, well, if it doesn't happen, oh, well, we love California. We'll just stay here and just see where life takes us. And then Nashville hit and they kept calling and we got on a plane and drove to where we needed to be, and then he had an interview and they hired him, and we moved within 3 weeks.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
What initially
Wow.
was the reason that he wanted to move out of state? Like, why did he bring it up?
To be able to afford a better quality of life. So for the California price, when we moved, he's making the same amount. Well, when we first moved, he was making the same amount as he was making in California. And like the money just goes a lot further.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the housing market is so different here. And there's yards, whereas in California, at least the part we were looking at in like Orange County area, the yards were so small. And I grew up with a big backyard in West Covina. My grandpa owned, I think he lived in the same house for like 45 years.
Oh, wow.
So I loved having like a big yard and a swing set and things like that. And what we could afford in California was like a little patio.
Yeah.
So when we first came here and looking on Zillow, I was sold. I was like, the yards are awesome. The homes are awesome. They're in our budget. The price of gas is half.
Yeah.
Like everything. But it was definitely like a very scary idea for me.
Yeah.
But I also figured California is not going anywhere. I could always move back if we absolutely hate it.
Right. So what were like, okay, so you guys chose Tennessee. Were there any like cons that you were worried about, like the bugs or anything, like the weather, anything like that you kind of were worried about?
Yeah, I was definitely worried about bugs. Like, you know, California, like we have a couple bumblebees and that's about it.
Yeah.
There's like deadly spiders here.
Like Black Widows? Or like legit?
They're called like brown, I'm probably saying it
Oh,
right. Brown
recluse.
recluse. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So those are here. I've never seen one,
That's good.
but I'm definitely aware of them. And anytime like I get a spider bite, like I draw the little circle around it, or if my son gets one, I'm like, okay, like we got to watch this.
Oh.
The wasps here are insane. Like they will like attack you.
Oh.
And there's a lot of them. But they're only in like the summertime.
Okay.
So like winter, even like the beginning parts of spring, fall, like they're not really around. So the bugs kind of just like, the mosquitoes are not that bad.
What?
Really?
They're bad.
Yeah.
They were terrible this last year. They were bad. What about the weather? Were you scared about the weather? Because that's a big change.
I was a little nervous, but I was also excited to have seasons and like wardrobes and need rain boots. So
you were optimistic, it sounds like, for the most part of the whole move.
The humidity is really hard to get used to in the summertime, but it's only for a few months. So it's not like it's a year-round thing of humidity, and there's ways to like cope with it, like either doing indoor activities or going to the lake. There's tons of lakes around here, and people do like boating, and we've gone like kayaking and fun stuff like that. So if you're on the water, the humidity is not that bad.
Now, initially you said that you cried your eyes out at the idea. When did you finally get aboard? Like, okay, this is not as bad as I'm making it seem, and I'm going to make the best out of the situation. Like, when did that happen?
As soon as I saw the homes we could afford, like the second I realized like my children could all have their own room, like we won't have to be cramped. I can actually like purchase a home.
Yeah.
That was like the deciding factor for me, because not that there's ever anything wrong with it. I just always imagined purchasing my own home and my children having their own rooms, because I shared a room my whole life with my sister and I didn't want that for them. But I feel like if we were to have stayed in California for what my husband was making at the time, we wouldn't have been able to afford it anytime soon.
Okay. And you're home with your son?
Yeah, and that was another big thing too, is we wanted me to be primarily a stay-at-home mom. So that was going to be really hard with what we could afford in California. I had my grandma with me all the time. She stayed home with me. And my husband had his mom as a stay-at-home mom. And so it was just something that both of us had really wanted.
Mhm.
And I'll probably go back to work once the kids are in school. But right now, while they're little, like, I just love being with them. And it's so fun watching my son grow and being blessed enough to stay home with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you felt like you wouldn't be able to do that comfortably in California.
We probably could have made it work, but not living the life we're living here.
Okay.
If we were in California, we would definitely have had to budget really hard, I think. And then also, like, family vacations might not be as often, or Christmases might not be as big and things like that. But I think we would have really budgeted and tried to make that happen either way.
Okay.
So speaking on the struggles, what was the hardest thing for you to leave behind?
Family. Definitely family. If our family was here, everything would be perfect. Like, there wouldn't be anything that we're missing other than In-N-Out. But
did you guys ever try to talk your family into coming out there?
Oh, yeah. So we've definitely tried really hard to convince my sister-in-law to move out here.
Mm-hmm.
And she, for like a little bit, was considering it. And then she came one day and it snowed. And she was like,
that was it for her.
Yeah, she was like, this is not happening. It's cold. I'm freezing. I'm not coming.
Inside. How funny.
Yeah.
What about your grandparents?
Or your
Would you ever try to relocate them, or are they settled?
So after I moved, my whole family ended up moving to Arizona.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they all moved out of California as well. So my family's now in Arizona, and my husband's family's still in California.
Did you guys ever consider Arizona, or was that on the list at all, or no?
It would have been if he got a job there. And I mean, that would have been really convenient because we still could have driven to visit family in California. But once we got to Nashville, like, Nashville is home.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like home. The people here are amazing. I actually love the seasons. I love that it snows sometimes. So it just, like,
how often does it snow? Or or
It's
how
like
long
2
is
or
the
3
snowing
times a
season?
year.
Is it like for a month that it snows, or?
It's like December to February it might snow, but it never sticks.
Is it like California rain where it's just random?
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty much, just like,
okay.
And then, like, we had a white Christmas, but it wasn't even half an inch. So, like, you could see, like, the little bit of white outside, and then it was gone by lunchtime.
Okay.
So it's not like we will never have to shovel snow.
Oh, okay. That's nice. That's nice. 'Cause
Yeah.
will you ever be able to build a snowman?
Maybe. So what I've heard from people is that the year before we moved here, so 4 years ago, they had like a snowstorm and they had like 3 inches.
Okay.
And it stuck like all day, and the kids could like sled a little bit or build a little snowman. But like, it's never ever gonna, like, you're never gonna be snowed in here or not be able to drive.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And the town shuts down anytime it snows. Like, the whole city is just shut down because we don't have snow plows. Nobody knows how to drive in it. Nobody knows what to do. So they literally shut down all businesses, everything.
It's like a snow day. Everyone stay inside and cozy with your family.
Yes. And when like schools were going on, they would shut down the schools for like threat of snow.
Wow.
Because if the kids get to school and then it snows, their parents might not be able to pick them up.
Oh, wow.
They're stuck there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So since you moved away from your family, what were some of the hard days being so far away from them?
Definitely when my son Martin became like, like a very strong-willed toddler.
Mm-hmm.
and you want like grandma to come and just like save the day and play with him, and you go like to Target. So I don't get that luxury.
Yeah.
And those are probably the hardest times. And then whenever there's like something small that we're missing out on, like a birthday dinner, or like we try to make it for everything big, but it's just like the tiny things that it's like, dang, I wish I was there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Those are definitely the hard moments.
And did the move ever challenge your marriage?
I don't think the move did. I think that the only part that challenges us is that we don't get a lot of alone time for ourselves.
Date and stuff.
We don't have just the luxury of having like a family babysitter or anything like that. So like and now with like COVID, we haven't been on a date in probably over a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what we try to do is once a week, we will put our phones away, order in some food. After Martin goes to bed, we'll watch a movie and just like have like an at-home date night.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of times where we're like, man, we wish we could just like get out of the house and have grandma here.
Yeah.
Like prior to COVID, you never found anyone that could babysit, or you never met anyone there that you trusted enough to babysit?
We're totally like those first time parents that are like, nobody's watching my baby. Like, no, family only.
Yeah. Do you guys know anybody that live out there?
Well, we've made friends since moving, and then we actually have one friend who lives here, who my husband Matthew, he went to school with her and has known her since first grade.
Oh,
so
wow.
her and her family live here. She's getting her PhD at Vanderbilt.
Mm-hmm.
And so we would occasionally date night swap because they're basically family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But just getting schedules together, and nobody drops everything like grandma does. Like, just that's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
How often do you have family? Does family come out to visit quite often? I know someone who does.
Yes, before COVID, there was we probably had a visitor every 3 months.
Okay.
My mother-in-law, sister-in-law. My sister-in-law still will come and visit. Like, she will fly in a full-on hazmat suit.
I've seen her suits, and she literally is like,
is it really?
She puts on a whole suit with glasses and mask and like hoodie, everything. Cool. She brings her wipes. I've seen
she's dedicated. She has like the whole thing, and like then she strips down like literally in the parking lot, even if it's like 20 degrees here.
Is she still throwing those clothes in the trash?
She throws them in a trash bag, and then when they get here, she throws them straight into the wash and like sanitizes them, and it's crazy.
She's legit.
Like, I'm going to see my nephew.
Yeah, she's like, there's nothing that is gonna stop me from coming. So that definitely makes us feel special.
So do you feel, okay, I know this is kind of like a personal question, but it's kind of piggybacking off of her marriage challenges, but do you feel like, since you guys are out there alone and have no distractions from family or anything, that you guys kind of that your fights go by faster, or like you guys forgive faster because you can't just leave to mom's house or grandma's house or anything like that?
I think that we've learned to rely on each other a lot more. And I think that like when we would get irritated with each other before, like, yeah, it'd be easy to be like, okay, fine, I'm gonna have a girls' night.
Right.
Or like, I'm gonna go do this or whatever. And now like we can still like respect the fact that we need a little space, but it's more like it made us more of a team, and more like we have to count on each other.
Yeah.
And it also brought us to a point to where like we can respect, like, if you need space or you need a day to yourself, like, I got the kiddo, and like vice versa. So I think that it just made us like a stronger team.
That's awesome.
That's nice.
That's awesome.
And how long did it take for you to make friends and adjust to being out there?
Well, how long have you guys been out there? Let's see. I don't think we said that. How?
We've been here almost 3 years. So we moved when
Has it
Martin
been
was 4
wow.
months old, and he just turned 3. So
Wow. Okay.
almost 3 years. And I would say like the first year, like we didn't
The
make
hardest.
friends right away. And I was kind of like, I'm very much an introvert, so I was kind of like, who
I don't
cares?
know
Like,
anybody.
yay. Like,
I feel like too, as a new mom, all new moms are like
Yeah.
that. Like it's harder for them to make friends.
yeah, because you don't even know your own schedule. Like, how are you going to plan something?
Oh yeah, around naps and everything
Yeah.
else, you can't have friends with naps.
Yeah. I know.
After this, they have kids the same age,
Yeah.
maybe.
But the thing about Nashville too is that like so many people are moving here
Mhm.
and everyone is a transplant. So there's like Facebook groups and mom groups and people are constantly like, "Oh, I just moved here. I live in this part of town looking for friends."
How
And
fun.
like before COVID, we would meet up at a local park and like there would just be like random moms there who didn't have friends and you're like, "Hey."
Oh my god! Like, I'm
Oh,
a
I am
random
not
too.
the type to
That
say
is
hey,
so
though.
cool. Well, you went to like stroller
Stroller
stride,
stride,
those
yeah.
kind of things, so you could
That did last.
organically. Oh my god.
Yeah. And the people here are so nice. Like they say hi to you just like walking by and you're like, "Oh, hi." Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, do I know you?
yeah.
Do you know me? Okay, so what about for okay, you already mentioned babysitters that
we're
you
on you.
Do you guys go to the gyms out there before COVID?
Yes, before COVID, I definitely went to the gym. So actually the gym I went to in Orange County, they used to have a location here in Nashville.
Oh.
And it was Burn Boot Camp. It's like a mom gym type thing, and they have like childcare and all that. But then they shut down, and so then now I go to pre-COVID, I went to the Y,
Mhm.
and they have childcare there. So that was like the only place I ever left Martin without me with someone else. And the Ys here are so nice.
Oh, okay.
Like they are like luxury gyms. They have outdoor pools with water slides and it's like a whole community type feel. They do activities for the kids. They do everything. They do like senior citizen like blood pressure test day and it's like a whole community feel there. So I love going to the Y.
I ask about the gym because Marianne was new here, so she doesn't really
yeah.
have a lot of family to watch her kids. So she uses the people that
Oh, yeah.
work at the gym daycares
For her own
for
daycare.
her personal babysitters.
Babysitter.
Yeah, since they're CPR certified,
Yeah, they're
and
certified.
they watch your kids.
They watch them at the gym, so they know them. And
So just an
I
idea
trust
if
them.
you guys become ever desperate for a
Open again.
babysitter. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually used to be one of those girls that worked at the gym
Really?
daycare. Yeah.
Oh, okay, perfect. So you
They're
know
so
that.
nice.
Yeah. Okay, so then you said at first you guys didn't have friends. How long did it take to actually get implemented
It
into the town?
probably took me about a year to find like good friends. And I still only have like a couple here or there. COVID really put a damper in that.
Yeah.
And then also I was just like envisioning Martin was going to start preschool before all this happened. And I was like, oh, make mom friends there.
Yeah.
Like, it'll be great. Like, we can set up play dates and this and that. They'll be about the same age. And so I'm still like holding on to that, but I've got about 3 friends that I would consider like they're going to be lifelong friends here.
That's awesome. And how did you meet them? Through the parks or
Yeah, so
groups?
one of them actually was a flight attendant with one of my close friends growing up, and she was like, you guys will definitely hit it off. So she arranged for us to meet because she knew we both lived there.
Oh,
And then another one was through a mom Facebook group. She was asking some question about her son and what her son was going through, and I answered, and she was like, oh, like, your son's so cute. Our kids are about the same age. Do you want to meet up? And so we met up, and the kids hit it off. So, you know, that's always a bonus. And
It is a huge bonus because if you
yeah,
guys hit it off and the kids hate each other,
Yeah.
then it's
Yeah.
like, how do we continue this
Mhm.
friendship?
yeah, that's always the hard part. And then, yeah, that's pretty much how I've met my friends, just online. It's like dating.
Yeah, it really
is.
is.
It is.
Yeah, you either click or you don't. So now, how do you guys stay in touch with family?
Lots of FaceTime calls. Under normal circumstances, we try to travel back for every big event. We try to do vacations together. Like for Thanksgiving, this past Thanksgiving, Colorado is the halfway point between California and Tennessee.
Oh, cool.
So my in-laws drove halfway and we drove halfway, and we had an Airbnb in Colorado, and it was actually like the best vacation because none of us had ever been to Colorado. And it snowed, which was really cool. And we went sledding and had all that fun stuff and created some family memories.
What a cool idea to meet halfway. I've never heard of that. That's
cute.
cool. Do you guys have any regrets about your move? Or are you just absolutely in love with it?
No,
No regrets.
No regrets.
I love it. Not a single regret. Maybe, yeah, no. We spent too much money during the moving process. That's about it.
How? Like, what do you mean? Like buying stuff, like new stuff, or just the whole process of relocating?
The whole process of relocating, we could have done it a lot cheaper if we would have had a bigger notice of when we had to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So we rented like a U-Haul truck and we did it all ourselves. And the pod system would have probably been the most effective financial way to do it. But we had a 4-month-old. We wanted all our stuff with us right now, and we only had 3 weeks to get there. So we put it all in the U-Haul and moved it, and it was a little pricey, but we made it happen.
Nice.
So next time, your advice to somebody would be to go invest in the pods
way. rather than the U-Haul way.
If you have the time, it will cost way less. But if you have a baby, it's kind of hard because like you need all the baby stuff right away.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes like if you get to your destination, the pods might not get there for another week.
Mm.
So it just kind of like, if I was like doing this without kids, I would totally have done the pod system. I would have just packed one little suitcase and probably flown and had my car shipped rather than do that long road trip.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, with a baby, you're kind of like, no, I need everything with me now, especially a new mom. You think you need everything.
Yeah. So you got to pay more for your convenience versus,
Other than that, I wish our family was here, but we love Nashville. It's home.
Do you guys ever consider coming back to California, or do you guys feel like you're there forever?
I never say never, because if something were to happen to like one of our family members and they needed us, I would definitely figure something out to be there for them. But other than that sort of situation, I think that Nashville is going to be our forever home.
Can you give us and our listeners some moving tips?
Our listener.
I know. This girl who's going to leave us.
Yeah, I guess so.
I actually heard about that.
Yeah, we may be
as far as like the moving process, I think it's very specific to everyone's family needs. And also like your personality. If you're not a control freak like I am and you can hire movers and have them do the whole thing for you, why not? Like, why put that stress upon yourself? But I'm a little crazy type A and need to like know where my things are and when they're getting there and how they're getting there. So we opted for doing it ourselves and making the road trip. And I look back and I'm like, we're crazy. Like we drove the entire way in 3 days with Matthew was driving a U-Haul with my dad helping him do the drive that was also towing his little Honda Civic, and I drove with my mother-in-law, our 4-month-old baby, and our dog in my Honda CRV. Like, why did we do that? Like, we could have just shipped everything and flown.
Right.
But my personality, I would have been more nervous having someone else do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also made a lot of really great memories with our family doing that road trip.
Mm-hmm.
And we made sure that we found like good food along the way. We definitely like to eat. So I was like, okay. Yeah, so like I was like, okay, in New Mexico, we got to try like the chili, and then like we tried Whataburger and things like that we normally wouldn't get to try.
Mm-hmm.
So we made it fun, but I just think it's really a personal decision on how you want to do it.
And you guys started with a job, because some people move before they find any job. So
Yeah.
would you recommend making sure to like lock in that job?
I think, again, it has to do with your personality. If you're spontaneous and you don't need to like have like things set in stone,
Mm-hmm.
that's awesome. If you can just like be that spontaneous. But for us, especially having a 4-month-old baby, we were like, we want stability.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to leave the stability we have here and go into something like super unknown. And also our main reason for wanting to move was to be able to afford more.
Mm-hmm.
So we wanted to make sure that whatever job offer my husband got was equal to what he was making in California or more.
Mm-hmm.
And that there was room for growth within the company. So we just were a little picky about that, and it worked out for us, but it wasn't like an overnight thing. It was definitely a lot of applying and taking that one trip out to Nashville so that they could see him face to face and see what kind of an employee they were getting. I think that making that trip showed the employer that we were serious, we wanted to move, and we did that on our own dime.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't expect them to fly him out. We were like, we're coming. He's going to do an interview. Like, will this work for you? And they said yes. And I think that showed a lot of dedication.
Mm-hmm.
And did you guys rent before, or are you guys renting right now?
We rented the first like 6 months we were here.
Okay.
Because we didn't really know the area. We weren't sure where we wanted to live or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so we rented a little townhouse, and then we started the process of looking to buy a home. And at first we were like, we really don't know where we want to live.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you mentioned Franklin and Brentwood, like those areas are gorgeous, beautiful, wonderful. But we found ourselves coming to East Nashville a lot. Under normal life, there's a lot of like little festivals that go on here. There's like the Hot Chicken Festival. There's they shut down the streets at Halloween for the kids to trick or treat.
Okay.
So it's very like family oriented. There's decent schools in this area. So we found ourselves coming here a lot. And so we're like, okay, we think we want to live there, but it's a little higher price point because it's 10 minutes from the city.
Yeah.
And we just got so lucky with our house, and we're on 1/3 of an acre, which is really nice.
Oh, wow.
We have chickens.
Wow.
And we now have 2 dogs. So
Okay.
our house is full
Cool.
and we love it.
And you're pregnant. She's expecting another baby.
Yes.
How far along?
I am 31 weeks.
Wow, congratulations.
That's why I can't breathe.
Exciting.
So with your move, what do you wish that someone would have told you before you guys moved out there?
I think I wish that someone would have told me to have a going away party.
Oh,
Like,
that's a good one.
I wish that I would have had time to just like have everyone together one last time, like all of my friends, all of our family, everyone together to say goodbye, rather than just like trying to like pop in here while I'm packing, or can you come help me do this? And then we'll say our goodbyes. Cause it would have been like kind of like ripping the Band-Aid off, just everybody all at once in a fun environment to say goodbye.
That's a good
That's
idea.
a really good
Yeah, that is good.
idea.
But then I
Write that
really
down.
make it write it down.
Write that down. No, it'll be emotional, but it'll
Yeah,
be
I feel like
nice
it'll make
because
it
you
seem
make
like
sure.
you're never gonna come back though. Like
No, it's
No?
like they're sending you off with
Like-
good vibes.
Call it like a see you later party.
Yes.
say that.
What advice do you have for our listeners who are struggling with the decision to move? Where do you think that they should start?
I think they should start with just looking at different areas, maybe go on a couple trips and see how they feel about different areas.
Mm-hmm.
And you can always move back home. Like, home is not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So if you hate it and it's the worst thing you've ever done, like, move back.
It's not impossible.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. Like that.
Feels, oh my God.
Right.
It just feels impossible when you live in California. You know what I mean? It feels like one of those things, like California just keeps getting more expensive and
Like if you
more
sell your
expensive.
home
So it's
and
like you
leave.
sell your home now and then you decide to come back in a couple
It's
years.
something smaller.
You're not going to be able to
Yeah.
afford that home that you had now, you know? So that's what
The
could be
scary part.
scary, you know?
Yeah, I think that could be scary, but I also think that, like, our savings account has never looked better.
Mm-hmm.
And like the price of gas here is under $2.
Yeah, it was $1.99 when we were
Wow.
visiting.
Yeah. So you might not be able to, like, you might not be like a millionaire when you move back, but I think that you'll have the funds to where you could make it work the same way as like when you originally left.
Okay.
If you absolutely didn't like where you were at, or try a different state.
Well,
Yeah.
it's of interest to be able to say that you were able to relocate in different places throughout your life. I feel like that's a blessing in itself because, you know, some people stay stationary, but in order to go different places, you have to let your guard down and do different things. So
I have a best friend who moved from California to Florida and she loves it out there. I think it was hard the first couple of years to find your group of people, you know, that you're going to kind of become friends with and family. But I feel like once she found them, she does not want to come back to California. She's like, the traffic there. And I'm like, everybody in their traffic. Everybody says we have horrible traffic. But I feel like a lot of people who move, they love it. And they end up hating California.
I still love California. I'm like one of the rare people that left that I'm like, I love California, but like I appreciate it for like California vacation now.
Okay.
Because I'm like, yeah, like I want to go to San Diego. Let's spend a week in San Diego, or like
you were a big
let's go to
Disneyland girl.
Disneyland.
Yeah, you were a Disneyland girl. So like, how was that leaving Disney? You guys were at Disneyland like every week.
Well, now we have zoo membership, science center membership, and a botanical garden membership
Oh, that botanical garden is amazing.
for less than a Disneyland pass.
Wow.
So we still find things to do. It's just different.
Yeah.
And I still do love Disneyland. Like, we had a big trip planned in April. We were going to go to California for 2 full weeks. My mother-in-law rented a beach house. We were going to do 3 days at Disneyland. Martin was going to be so cute. He loves like all the Disney stuff. It was going to be the best. And, you know, I mean, we didn't get to do it. And now he's at the age where we have to pay for him.
I know. That sucks. We missed that one though, too. Yeah. I'm all, damn it.
I know. I'm going to be like, you're 2 at Disneyland.
We did that with your old.
We
youngest
did. It
eldest.
was not a good thing.
It works still.
You have your own YouTube channel. Is that something that you started? Did you know that you were going to start one when you moved out there, or did you kind of start that because you had extra time?
I had extra time and I wanted to find a way for our family to watch Martin grow up without being right next to us.
Mm-hmm.
So I found like vlogging, and I was always taking videos and just like sending it to them.
Okay.
And then, so I just started vlogging and I was like, okay, let's just see what happens. And then I ended up like loving the whole editing process, loving just like this online mom community that exists that I didn't even know existed.
Mm-hmm.
And like I mentioned earlier, I'm an introvert. So a lot of times like me talking to someone online like fills my social cup.
Okay.
So I don't like always need to be like meeting up with people in person. So I found that like it was fulfilling in ways that I didn't think it was going to be. And then it's also been very surprising how many doors YouTube has opened for me as far as like trying out even like things here in Nashville that I didn't think I was going to ever be able to do, or like products that people will send me to test out. And so it's become like a hobby. And I still like to send the vlogs to like my grandpa, who is 88 years old and watches YouTube.
Oh, how cute.
Yeah,
That's
so he loves
awesome.
doing that, like the Halloween videos and stuff like that. He says he feels like he's there.
Oh, that's good.
Awesome.
That's so sweet.
Your YouTube is doing really good.
Yeah, a lot better than I thought it would do, especially when I started. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
So how can people find you on YouTube? Do you have a website or Instagram handle?
I have Instagram. It's April Escobar _ and then YouTube, just April Escobar. And yeah.
Awesome. And then we will link her YouTube and her Instagram in our show notes. Thank you, April,
Thank you,
for
April.
coming on here and giving us all your tips
Yeah.
and all your she's relocating.
I was looking forward to this show. The tips were
Oh, I'm looking forward to you coming out here.
I'll be hitting you up on the side too with every little for every little thing. Don't kill me. I'm letting you know now.
No, let me know.
Once I have the baby, because I know that stage. Like, I know.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us. If you want to catch up on our previous episodes, visit mamasmimosas.com, where you'll get access to all of our podcast show notes, our YouTube videos, and our private Facebook group, where we chat with you about each episode topic and host live Q&As with our fave mom tribe. Can't wait to see you there.